I'd like to thank everybody for coming out today. I'm going to introduce people. I am First Lieutenant John Grimshaw. That's Grimshaw. I'm the post commander here for the Alpena State Police Post. Over here on my right, your left, would be Sheriff Steve Kalashewski of the Alpena County Sheriff's Department, Chief Joel Jett from the Alpena Police Department, and then Derek Caro is the lieutenant in the PIO, which most of you probably already know because you deal with him a lot on the media events. So, again, thanks for coming. We'll start this off by saying today we are no longer investigating Brynn Bills as a missing person. Unfortunately, we are now investigating her as a suspicious death. Our thoughts and prayers are with the Bills family and friends as we move forward in our investigation. On Tuesday morning, September 28th, the Michigan State Police Alpena Post, acting on a tip, executed a search warrant at 1680 West Naylor Road in Alpena Township. There was no one home at the time of the search warrant was executed. At approximately 3:30 p.m., human remains were found buried on the property, and they were believed to be Brynn Bills based on tattoos located on the deceased body. The remains were transported to Western Michigan University for an autopsy at the direction of the Alpena County Investigating Coroner, which the autopsy and pathology are being conducted today. The cause of death has yet to be determined, and at this point we can only rule her death as suspicious. We will know more once the autopsy and pathology reports are completed. The property belongs to a 34-year-old Joshua Wergo, who is a person of interest in this case. He is currently being held without bond in the Alpena County Jail on a separate charges of unlawful imprisonment and felonious assault, which was from an incident that occurred earlier in the week and is unrelated to this case. This investigation continues and has been a collaborative effort between the state police, the Alpena City Police Department, and the Alpena County Sheriff's Office. The investigation is ongoing, and detectives are now narrowing the focus of the investigation. During the course of this investigation, numerous resources have been utilized, which include the MSP Crime Lab in Grayling, MSP Canine Teams, MSP Aviation Unit, the MSP 7th District Fugitive Team, the MSP Emergency Support Team, and detectives from the MSP 7th District Special Investigations Section, Huron Undercover Narcotics Team, and detectives from the Alpena City Police Department. We want to thank the public for the tips and ask that anybody with information in this case, no matter how trivial they think it to be, to call the MSP Alpena Post at 989-354-4101. Now, due to the investigation being active, there are not a lot of details that we are willing to release because it is an active investigation, a criminal investigation right now. So I would ask you to keep that in mind when you ask your questions, because I'm sure you have a lot of questions to ask. So I will open it up for questions.
Can you talk a little more about the tip you received that led you to the search warrant on the house of Naylor Road?
Not at this time, but it was a tip that came in on the weekend. It also, the tip was a collaboration of some other incidents that had occurred, which kind of made it a pressing investigative lead that we wanted to certainly dig into. Yes.
Does the arrest that was made at that property, the gentleman that was arrested a few days ago, does he have anything to do with the missing young woman, or did you?
Well,
or what is that like?
he is a person of interest, obviously. He's the homeowner where there was a deceased body that was found on it, so he is a person of interest.
Going back to that tip question, was it an anonymous tip or was it a tip from somebody you're investigating that's related to this case?
It was an anonymous tip.
Can you tell us if there's any more evidence that came about after that man's arrest previously, when you took him into custody?
Is he talking?
Well, let me answer his question first. No, there was nothing additional from that arrest that led us to that residence. that was developed from the tips and then other information that we had developed. What was your question?
Is he talking, Worka? Is he
I won't comment on that. He has an attorney. Yes, ma'am.
And when did you let the Bills family know?
We let them know last night. The father was out at the scene. We informed them that we found who we believed to be his daughter.
I know you won't know the cause of death until you get the autopsy pathology back, but was there any outward signs of trauma that you noticed? Gunshot, anything like that?
Can't comment on any of that. We won't comment on anything on the body or any other evidence that we've obtained, waiting for the autopsy report and the pathology report.
Can you say how long
I
he
cannot.
had been buried?
I cannot.
Days, weeks? Can't say anything?
Did the tip come in after the arrest of the person of interest?
No. I had to think about the timeline on that. No, I do not believe so.
How long has Worka been a person of interest?
Since we recovered the body on the property,
Okay, so he wasn't being investigated 3 weeks ago or 2 weeks ago?
I won't comment on that. I'm just saying that he's a person of interest in this case.
When do you anticipate the autopsy being back?
Well, depending on the toxicology and everything, always takes anywhere up to 3 months to get that back. We're trying to get that pushed through quicker. We may have preliminary autopsy results back sooner than that, which we will obviously update all of you on once we get them.
I was going to ask you, you would send that out, if you get that preliminary?
Yep. Once we know the cause of death, we'll update everybody and let them know.
Do you have other persons of interest
Yep.
on this case right now?
We have other persons of interest that we are talking to and looking to. We're looking and talking to anybody and everybody that may have any information related to this case.
But anybody specifically, another person of interest? Is
I
there-
won't comment on that.
Is Chelsea Worga a person of interest?
I won't comment on that. Now, as you all know, this case was originally started as a missing person complaint that came into the city of Alpena. So, Chief Jett, did you want to say anything?
Not at this time.
Okay. Sheriff?
No.
Okay.
I have another question for you. Do you know how Worga knew Brynn?
I can't comment on that. You're asking for specifics of an investigation that we're not willing to give out.
I think you're at number 8 now.
In other words, it's ongoing.
It is ongoing. Yep.
Is the search complete at the house on Naylor Road?
No, we're still out there currently searching.
Just for more evidence?
Correct. Yeah. So I know when I was coming into work today, I heard on a radio station, there was some question on why we were not giving out more information from the scene last night and things like that. You know, there's a lot of things that go into this. We want to be as forthright as we can to the citizens and to the public and to the media. However, we have a lot of other constraints that we have to consider. We have to consider if we give specifics of a crime, then somebody who we believe did the crime could make the argument that we heard it in the media and this is how it happened, or, you know, this is what I heard from such and such. So that's why we keep a lot of these details to ourselves, because it's the details that only the person that committed the crime would know is important for us to be able to move forward with a successful prosecution. So we try to get it out as best we can, but, you know, we also have to worry about having, if this goes to trial, and we have to pool a jury. We have to have a fair and impartial jury, and if we put a lot of things out that could taint the jury pool because of all the evidence that we put out there, you know, that's another thing that we look at, and the prosecutor has to look at as well. So that's kind of why we just don't come out and give you everything that we know. We have to keep some things close because we're currently still investigating it.
Did the tip you received, did it point you to a specific spot on the property, or was it kind of just searching the whole property?
No, the tip led us to an area where we had seen that there was some fresh dirt and something that looked like had been dug up recently, so it was easy to locate. There was several spots on the property like that, so we narrowed our search to those, and that's where we found the body.
And did that tip, did it indicate whether they believed the body was underground at all? Or?
I won't go into that any further because I don't remember exactly the wording of the tip.
And for clarification, the body was buried under dirt as opposed to like underneath or in.
Correct. Yep.
How long did it take to find that patch of dirt, I guess?
Well, to find the patch of dirt, it was pretty evident, so it didn't take long to see the locations that of interest to us to look. It took us a long time to find the remains and to get her out of there.
I missed Julie's question about the specifics of how where her body was found. It wasn't found underground, it was found in a pile of dirt.
No, she was asking if it was found under a pile or if it was buried. It was buried.
Okay.
She said it was an anonymous tip. Can you confirm that the state police do not know who sent that tip?
No, I'm sure there's a way that we can find who the tip was. I don't remember if it came through Crime Stoppers or where it originated from, but we can find who the tip came from.
But you haven't done that yet?
I won't answer on that. Are you out of questions, Phil?
I am.
Okay. Anybody else with anything? Anybody else up here that has anything to add? Okay, well, you know, if anything, these kind of cases, we want to make sure we do it right and that we go and cross all the Ts and dot all the Is to make sure that we can get all the evidence as possible. So this will be continuing, this investigation will be continuing, and I promise we'll update you all as soon as we get additional information that we can put out to the media, as soon as we can. Thank you all.
Yes,
Okay.
that's right.
Yeah.
You said that you were open to any leads about anything we should get. Is there anything in particular that, any type of information that would be particularly helpful that people could use?
Anybody that knew Brynn Bills, knew the group of people that she hung out with, knew friends, anything like that, anybody that knew or talked to her anytime around August would be great. You know, some people may know something or may have seen something or whatever that seemed weird to them, but they just don't think that it's that big of a deal. You know, let us know. There's no trivial tip here. We want all the tips we can get so we can run them all down to help out with our investigation. Go ahead.
Have you learned anything new about the circumstances at the time when she went missing?
No.
Did you guys have any other suspect besides the person who was in the home?
We have no other suspects right now. We are looking at people of interest, though.
Can you tell us how many?
No.
The person who was in that home, that's his home?
Correct.
So somebody came and dug a hole, put a body in it, found him unbeknownst to him?
I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that there was a body that was recovered on that piece of property that he owns. So he is a person of interest to us.
How's the family doing?
There's several of the members here today that came up here, so, you know, I think they're doing as well as can be expected.
Would the tipster be considered a person of interest? How did they know that a body was there?
We won't reveal that.
We revealed they would be a person of interest, the tipster.
We didn't say that a tipster told us that there was a body anywhere.
Oh.
We just received a tip.
That's it. Well, thank you all for coming. I've also
Yeah.
printed this out and stated that you made, so I'll hand it out to you. So I know a lot of you are taking notes, you can have that. Thank you very much.
Thank you.